Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 45. Lamar Jackson, cramps or craps? Happy Hanukkah and welcome to the Big Chill Podcast. As always, I'm joined with Sam and Edward. Eddie, I got a little question for you. Did you watch the Monday night game? Probably one of the best games of the year so far.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting. So I have a few little small statistics from that game. So for those who didn't watch the game, Ravens came back, beat the Browns in a pretty good back and forth at the very end. But it was a matchup of Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield, two Heisman winners on Monday night. It's only ever happened one time before. Do you know when?
I mean, no. I can take. Is it relatively recent?
Really tough question.
Is it relatively recent history?
No, which makes it even tougher.
Yeah, I mean,
because
if it's
it was
like 1965, I'm not going to get it.
Wow. Not even close. I got you, though. I had you. 1977, Roger Staubach and Jim Plunkett.
Okay, I mean
that's pretty cool to think that's only the second time ever in Monday Night Football that two Heisman winners had matched up against each other.
I guess, but it's also.
I guess it's also QBs though, so
it's also I'm verging sure. on that moment when the statistic becomes so specific that it
not
on the
particularly.
Face of it sounds super impressive, but not that impressive.
Well, you got to figure what 8 out of every 10 Heisman winners are QBs.
But did you say on a Monday?
Well, it's happened a few times the Heisman's this year already. Because I'm trying to think. Kyler Murray, didn't he play? Did they play the Ravens or the Browns? They might have played one of them. I'll have to look into that. But the other fact from that game was that there was 9 rushing TDs, which tied the record for the most ever in an NFL game, which is crazy considering it's like the end of rushing in the NFL.
Yeah, except for the Ravens. But no, yeah, it was also how many times before has a Heisman Trophy winner shat themselves on Monday Night Football?
Wait, what?
Lamar Jackson left the game with cramp and then was seen
with cramps. Not cramp. It's not like he had like a singular cramp.
English people say cramp.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you get your hairs cut or your hair cut?
No, but you're suffering from cramp. Cramps would be like if you were like pregnant, I would say. Like the idea of your muscle is cramping.
Yeah.
But
it's like locked up. It's tensed up, right? You get you can get like stomach cramps. You can get cramp in your leg. Like it's a pretty general term for like muscle tightening, I guess.
Yeah, so we would always say stomach cramps, though. It would always be plural in the States.
To me, when you go plural, it's more likely to relate to like your stomach. For a muscle, I'd always use it like singularly because you're suffering from cramp to a muscle, right?
But there's millions of muscle cells in there.
Wow. Oh, God.
I thought you were going to just leave it at millions of muscles for a second. But anyway.
There's actually not been millions of muscle cells, only a few thousand.
He had to leave the game with cramps, and he was seen hobbling towards the dressing room in a way that made it look like he might also need to desperately go to the bathroom. Now, there's only 2 things that make me think that he was just cramping. One is that he was out of the game for like 40 minutes. So unless he just had really, really, really severe diarrhea, that's a very long time to be out. The second thing was he did seem surprised when in the post-game press conference, people asked him about it. It seemed to like blow his mind that people even thought he was pooping himself. So his surprise, either he's a great actor or that was like a very genuine reaction of like, what? No, I was cramping.
Well, and I think 3, which is that he also just recovered from COVID and he's probably getting some lingering symptoms there. I mean, we saw Cam Newton not that he's done much better, but he was really shitty those first few weeks, no pun intended, coming back from COVID. So there's, I mean, a good chance that he just says, you know, obviously they're always going to say they feel 100%, but he probably didn't feel 100%. You don't want to give that away. The other thing that was actually really neat. So Sam, I'm assuming you didn't watch, but
well, no,
basically,
Frank, no, before we move on to another topic though, the amazing thing that it's a Browns Monday Night Football game, Frank. One player may have had to go to the bathroom with severe diarrhea, and you haven't managed to bring up the conspiracy theory that maybe LBJ was waiting there for him.
I was going to say, was OBJ like nearby? He's like, I need the bathroom. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was gonna let it go being the holiday season. I didn't want to. I didn't want to drop a deuce on everyone. You know, I didn't want to ruin the holiday spirit.
You even used the Cam Newton shitty pun.
Yeah, I mean, we spent multiple episodes of you reading through Instagram comment threads, and then yet somehow, finally, when there's actually a poop related Brown story, it's below you, beneath you. That's pretty amazing.
It was below me, like OBJ was below Lamar. Is that okay?
Yeah, there we go. Now we can move on.
Okay. So, yeah, Sam, the thing that I thought was pretty funny was the Ravens were up 2 touchdowns in the third, and I guess going into the fourth quarter, and then Lamar Jackson went out, and the Browns started coming back, and then the Ravens had their backup Trace McSorley in, and he wasn't doing that well. And you could see it was going to a point where I think the Browns would have won. And McSorley dropped back at like a 3rd and 2 or something like that and gets demolished and gets hurt. And then as soon as he got hurt, everyone was basically saying, oh, there's no way Lamar's not coming back. And then they pan to the locker room and like out comes Lamar, like sprinting out of the locker room. It was like so right on cue. It was pretty funny. And then he came out and then dominated, and then they ended up winning. So it was a good game. It was a good back and forth. And I have to say, I was pretty impressed with Baker Mayfield, especially that last drive. But the only thing that gets annoying now in the NFL is the whole concept of leaving too much time. Like when you score to go ahead. I mean, he left at most, I think it was 50 seconds left on the clock, and they had no timeouts, the Ravens. And basically, I think everyone thought the same thing I did, where it was like, there's too much time. The Ravens are going to drive down the field and kick a field goal. But like it's annoying that it's come to that point.
The Ravens are a unique situation though, right? Because they've got Justin Tucker. So you're talking about one of the few teams in the league with an extremely reliable 50-plus yard field goal kicker. So that changes, the dynamic there in terms of whether or not it feels like there's too much time. It would have been very different had it been even roles reversed. You would have felt like the Browns need an extra 10 yards. It kind of changes the way you feel then about the time situation. The one thing I will say, it was a rare game where I think both teams walk away feeling better about themselves. Obviously, for the Ravens, that's a good win for them on the back of a pretty disappointing season so far. And then similarly for the Browns, although they'll be pleased with their record and their performances, it's the first time where their offense has really looked explosive. And so the way people have doubted and been critical of them in a lot of these wins, saying like, okay, they're winning like 12-3 in rainy, windy conditions, but you're not going to be able to beat the Chiefs that way or beat even the Steelers that way. And now they've shown at least that they could potentially hang with a team that's going to score 30, 40 points.
Yeah, and I think also just being able to hang with the team that everyone considers a legitimate contender as well. You know what I mean? It's like now they feel like they're granted, the Ravens, their record and some of their games don't look like maybe they're a potential Super Bowl champion, but most people put them in that category or still think they're capable of it. And for the Browns, I guess, like stay in a game and potentially have beaten a team of that caliber this late in the season has to feel good for them to kind of show that they definitely belong. And I was impressed. I mean, I think they played really well. The only thing I will say, and we've talked about this before, that gets really annoying is watching how defensive ends and D-line get so gassed at the end of games. And it's kind of like inexplicable why they're so gassed. Myles Garrett on those last 2 drives the Ravens had was practically invisible. It was like he wasn't even out there. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they pulled him halfway through the last series because he was going so slow. It was pathetic. Like those are the times when you need someone to step up. Like
Uh-huh.
I'd expect a Nick Bosa to step up in that situation, but Myles Garrett did not step up in that situation.
I'll give him a pass in a game where you're playing against Lamar Jackson. Just because there, the amount of effort and work you're having to put in is more than against a normal quarterback. Like if you're playing against Tom Brady, yeah, you shouldn't be gassed at the end of the game. But when you are having to chase him around all over the field, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah,
You're supposed to be one of the
agreement
best in
with
the
you.
game. You're supposed to be one of the
Yeah,
best
but
in the
still,
game.
I mean,
You're
they
an
have to do a lot
athletic
of defensive
freak,
work.
you know, like come on. I
Even freaks
expected
have to
more.
recharge.
Speaking of freaks recharging, did we see that max contract for the Greek freak?
Yeah, I think again another situation where everyone involved is a real winner. I think the NBA needed it because they needed as proof that their small market teams can actually have superstars stay there. And then for Giannis, I think it turns him like my fear with him was that he was going to abandon Milwaukee and go and join like another super team, and then he's just another dislikable NBA player who's just chasing rings. Whereas now you're going to really, really, really want him to succeed. Like if you're a neutral, you know. And so I think that's a great win for the NBA.
Yeah. So Sam, for context, he signed a 5-year, $228 million deal. But I completely agree. I think this makes him look so much better than almost every other NBA player. Especially because he's staying in Milwaukee. You know, no offense to people in Milwaukee, but if you had to choose between Milwaukee or like Brooklyn, LA, Miami Heat, you know, like
see, he loves it. He's openly spoken about how much he loves living there. But then also, I don't know. I think to me, there's way more attraction in being kind of in a small market.
oh my God. So you'd rather live in Milwaukee than live in LA or Miami?
Well, for starters, he only has to live there 7 months of the year. So that's different. Also, earning $230 million, well, let's say factor in endorsements. So over that period of time, he's probably going to earn $500 million over the next 5 years. $500 million in Milwaukee. What's the equivalent in New York? 7 billion. I mean, like, you could buy Milwaukee. So there's
and what would you do with it once you bought it, Eddie?
Move it to Brooklyn.
Move it to California.
But I mean, yeah, you're only there 7 months of the year, admittedly, including the winter, which would be a little bit of a downer. But
yeah, a little bit.
He seems like a really likable guy. I remember them telling that story about how he had like a garage sale when he moved out of his first house to his second house, and then just had this like publicly listed garage sale. And then the team, like some guys, like team officials, were like, you can't do this. And he was like, why not? I've got this good stuff. I want to sell it. I want to like make some money off of it. And people are going to pay more because I'm Giannis. So like people are going to overpay for my old stuff. And they were like, yeah, you can't invite people to your house. You can't just have a public yard sale where people just turn up to our like superstar NBA player's house to buy his stuff.
Yeah, I never forget the story too, where after one of the playoff games, which he won, I'm pretty sure he like single-handedly won the playoff game. He went to like a taco restaurant, and then they refused to seat him. He was like, "Hey, can I just sit down?" Like, sorry, man, we don't have any space. And they just like sent him away. And then like as he was leaving, people that were in the restaurant were like, "You just sent away literally the guy who won us the like playoff basketball game. What is wrong with you?" And he didn't care. Like it didn't even bother him. It was so funny.
You know, he seems like a pretty grounded guy, which is nice. But I mean, we'll have to try and get him on as a future guest of the podcast, right? Because Vasilis, he of the famous Paris sex parties, claims to have quite close ties with Giannis through their.
Hey, really?
Yeah. Because Vasilis played like a relatively high level of basketball in Greece as a youngster. So he says he trained in the gym where Giannis and his brothers trained all the time. Now they're a few years younger than Vasilis, but he says he saw Giannis and his brothers playing in the gym a few times a week. So he claims to be able to get in touch with him. So we'll see if he pulls some strings and we've got Giannis on the podcast. We'll see. Then then I'll believe that Vasilis is also attending sex parties with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, if Vasilis can make this happen, then it puts a lot of credentials into Vasilis' hands about his other stories.
Yeah, I mean he has close ties with two professional athletes, so Tsitsipas and Giannis. So we'll see which one comes on the podcast first.
What does he know about Tsitsipas?
He comes to eat at Vasilis' restaurant whenever he's in Paris, and in addition to that, he's good friends with one of Vasilis' cousins.
Does he come to Paris for the sex parties as well?
Maybe.
Well, we don't know because he's clearly never told Vasilis, though.
Yeah, when he's on the podcast, we'll ask him.
Yeah, we won't tell him about some of the questions we prepped. We'll just fire off some of the sex parties.
It's going to be a real gotcha interview.
Yeah.
It'll be like, have you ever met Scarlett Johansson? Oh, you have? That's cool. Was it at a sex party?
I was actually listening to a relatively old, it was like 18-month-old podcast, and talking about it was interviewing an ex-Blackburn Rovers player, David Dunn, Sam, for whom, relatively famous footballer.
Oh yeah, for the skill mess up. That was the
I mean that's where he's
when he tried to do the Cruyff term, wasn't it? Just absolutely, was it a Cruyff
not the
term?
Cruyff term, the Rabona.
That's it, the Rabona, and
playing for Birmingham. Yeah,
painfully failed.
Yeah, he was talking about when Henning Berg, also relatively famous footballer, was playing for Blackburn, and they had their Christmas party, and there was a comedian on stage, and the comedian was trying to get people to come up to be like part of some performance, and he wanted 5 men to come up and tried to get Henning Berg to be one of them, and Henning Berg was like, no, I'm the manager, like I'm not doing this. And the guy didn't know the comedian was unaware of who anyone at the club was. So he was like, no, you got to be fun. You got to come up and do it. And eventually the crowd kind of turned on Henning Berg and forced him into doing it. And then the act that he made him do on stage was he gave each one of them stockings, black stockings, that they then pulled over their heads as if they were kind of like bank robbers. Then he gave them afros that they put on. Then he gave them inflatable instruments. And then he put on Blame It on the Boogie, and they had to dance like they were the Jackson 5 on stage. I mean,
oh my God. Might be one of the whitest people as well.
What year is this?
2012.
Now, here's my question. Is that considered blackface or stocking blackface? What's the proper terminology there?
I mean, it's so inappropriate, and I was listening to it stunned. Like I had heard aspects of this like Henning Berg issue at the Christmas party.
Wow, that is bad.
And the thing is, everyone, even when they were retelling this, they were kind of like, well, Henning Berg's no fun. It's like, or maybe he didn't want to participate in what was clearly a pretty racist joke.
What were the crowd like with it? Were they egging him on some way, or were they like, hang on a minute, where's this going? Like, did they turn
based on the way the story was told, they were egging him on. And he then he like did it for a second, like not really acting, but like stood there and then supposedly whipped off the afro and the stocking, threw it, and left.
Oh man!
Wow.
No. Was it in Blackburn, the Christmas party?
Yeah. It's the one. It wasn't the players' Christmas. Sam,
what are you saying about Blackburn? What is that question implying?
I'm curious about the people.
But for context too, right? For context, it wasn't the players' Christmas party. So the players obviously have their own private Christmas party. This was the club's official Christmas party. So players were there, staff were there, but it was like anyone who worked for Blackburn Rovers Football Club was
like
at
family too.
Party. Yeah. So like, people who work in the ticket office and the club shop, like all of those, they were all there.
Oh dear,
that's bad. This actually brings me on a slight tangent. We were talking about things that didn't age well when we talked about the Christmas classic Love Actually. Michael Jackson, would he
definitely didn't age well?
Well, here's my question: would he survive today? Like, would he be able to get as famous as he did in today's time?
I mean, does he still molest children?
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like with all this social media and the constant, like the paparazzi dialing it up probably 1,000-fold since he was around, and all the constant media and 24/7 almost like fan surveillance. Does he even make it, or is he so exposed and ridiculed and like beaten down that he never gets to the level that he got?
Here's my problem with Michael Jackson, right? Is that the big giveaway was Neverland. Like, if you have ever looked at Neverland and not been in any way concerned or querying why it looks like it does, it doesn't need social media to do that. People back then should have realized what was happening in that weird childlike
you don't
ranch.
No, you're right, but at the same time, you don't have things where like you could literally have people on TikTok all day talking about it, and then that becomes viral, and then next thing you know, there's like investigations. I feel like in today's society, things can blow up in the matter of a day.
I mean, two things, I guess. TikTok for Michael Jackson would have just been like supercharged Tinder, so he would have loved it. But
I'm not saying he does the TikTok.
and then second of all, everyone knew, right? Like, this is the crazy thing about the Michael Jackson thing is every once in a while people have to pretend like they're really upset, and now it's the stage where the BBC doesn't play Michael Jackson music, right? Like, after that kind of documentary came out and stuff, everyone's now accepted, oh no, it turns out he did do bad stuff. But they weren't revelations. Like, everyone knew. My entire life, I've known that Michael Jackson was supposedly molesting children.
Yeah.
Like,
but in today's climate, would he have been able to get away with it? Like how they just kind of turned an eye to it 20 years ago.
I guess the key was the cult of personality he was able to establish before all of that came out. And if he was able to do that again, he'd be fine. I guess the difference would be he'd probably be exposed before he got famous enough to survive it. But if he was able to become a global superstar, like if Taylor Swift is out there molesting kids, you heard it here first, Big Chillians. Actually, you know who 100% could survive a scandal where they molest children? Beyonce. The Beehive would protect Beyonce if she was molesting children.
That's a good
100%.
She's the queen bee.
Oh, honestly, people would justify it somehow. I promise you, people would justify it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jay-Z treated her so poorly. What did you expect?
Oh, Jay-Z probably takes the bullet. It's probably Jay-Z who goes down, being like, Jay-Z made her do it. Just another example. I'm going to be careful here, but yeah, Jay-Z probably can survive it, but Beyonce survives it for sure, and probably writes a really powerful album all about child molestation afterwards, and people praise her for it.
Wow, would it be a subtle album though, or would it straight out be about child molestation?
Think about it. Let's get this conspiracy theory going. You just said a second ago he had a ranch called Neverland and people didn't see it. She wrote an album called Lemonade. Who sells lemonade? Little children. I mean, she's putting the evidence right in front of us and we're just missing it.
There'll be this kind of like Da Vinci Code moment where you put all the pieces together and realize it's happened, and you'll be shocked.
Didn't you ever see the song Single Ladies? The actual title is Single parenthesis Aged Ladies.
It was actually originally Single Babies, but the producers asked for it to be changed.
Sam won the battle of the jokes there, Frank. It wasn't close.
Yeah, but he ran off of mine.
I don't know.
You gave me an extra run of yours.
It was a toss-up. I gave it to him.
Speaking of winning battles and another celebrity feud, we've spoken about celebrity boxing fights in recent weeks. Obviously, you've got, I think it's Logan Paul. I always get the Paul brothers mixed up, so I'm never sure which one of them is trying to.
I think it's Logan. Yeah, Logan's the Floyd Mayweather fight.
Okay, so then Jake Paul, who's trying to get the fight with Conor McGregor. Did you see the comments he made about Conor McGregor?
No.
So he offered Conor McGregor $50 million to fight him, said that he'd sent him the offer and also proof of funds, and then proceeded to call Conor McGregor's wife a whore. Obviously out of 10,
I
not
was
out
going
of
to say,
5.
if it's out of 5, like, is that credible? Are we good?
It was out of 7.5. Very odd scale he uses.
Yeah, but I'm going to say in a way good move because you feel almost like Conor McGregor has to fight him because he's just openly insulting his family in a kind of inappropriate way. But at the same time, like I feel like it means that Conor McGregor can't fight him. Like you can't now think, oh, there's some idiot's going to go on the internet and say stupid things about me, and so I'm going to have a fight against him. I mean,
So I
Conor
just want to
McGregor,
clarify. You think the right thing to do when you want something from someone is to just go and openly mock their family? You think that's the right way to go about it?
yeah. I think Conor McGregor called Khabib's wife said she looked like a towel. So there's history with McGregor. It's the way that he works.
I just think it's a bad fight to pick, right? McGregor just comes across as the person a little bit unhinged that if you start insulting things close to him, he will actively try and end your life. It just feels like the weirdest move, right?
I wouldn't rule him out I wouldn't rule out if the story came out next week that Conor McGregor just turned up at Jake Paul's house in LA and beat the living shit out of him. It wouldn't stun me. Like it wouldn't stun me.
That would be actually. I would gain a lot of respect from McGregor if that were the case.
Too. I would. I mean, it would cost him his career
like,
and probably every cent he has. But yeah,
it would be like a keep your money, asshole, as you just beat him into oblivion.
Well, it would almost be the reverse. It'd be like, you're not going to pay me $50 million to kick the shit out of you. I'm going to pay you $50 million in lawsuits after this to kick the shit out of you right now.
The only thing that bothers me about that whole situation is it's basically we're doing exactly what he wants everyone to do, is just make these crazy claims and try and set up these ridiculous fights just to get people to talk about the Paul brothers. You know, it's annoying because let's be serious. Conor McGregor would destroy him.
In MMA, yeah, in a fight in boxing, probably, but
I think come on, Eddie. This is
Eddie,
you've
gone toe to toe with. Well, Frank, I mean, Eddie thinks he can go toe to toe with the best. Let's ask the best, Eddie.
True. You want my boxing analysis? So McGregor's performance against Mayweather was reasonable. So he's obviously, I mean, he doesn't really have a background in boxing though to any significant level. The issue is,
but he's a top end fighter though. Still, he's
right, but it's not his domain, and the issue is going to be size and weight. I mean, he's significantly smaller.
But it's not Paul's domain. He's been boxing for several years on the side. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't see a chance.
It's a pretty significant size advantage. If you told me they were going to get in an octagon, then yeah, Conor McGregor, absolutely, he's choking him out within 30 seconds. But in a boxing ring, I would expect Conor, like if we set odds, and maybe there are, you never know, maybe they already have odds for this fight because they do like speculative odds. But I would make McGregor favorite, but I wouldn't make him super, super heavy favorite.
So right now, Conor McGregor
50, right? So would you make him what, like 1 to 33, like that kind of it, or like 1 to 10? Like what's the level of favoritism we're going?
I have the odds, so don't look. Did you already look, Eddie?
I haven't looked. Okay. What is it?
Go ahead, take your guesses.
I think like 1 to 33. I'm going to go, or like 1 to 40, or something like that.
That's way too heavy. I'd make Conor McGregor 1 to 4 favorite.
Yeah, so Eddie definitely looked at the odds. He's a 1 to 4 favorite.
I didn't look.
You look in like every hour at the odds of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I do. You're right. I do check odds a lot, and I do have pretty good historical recall of boxing odds. I just think that, yeah, that just seemed about right.
So it's a big weekend for football all around. You have a Thursday night game, 2 Saturday games, and then your Sunday games, and then a Monday game. So tons of NFL. And then you also have conference championships for college football, which most are pretty lopsided. but there is one good one in Notre Dame and Clemson. So that will be an interesting game with Trevor Lawrence back in this game when he wasn't there the first time when Notre Dame won. So pretty surprising the spread. Eddie, did you see the spread on that game?
I saw the money line. I saw that Clemson were heavy favorites.
Yeah, they're like an 11-point favorite.
I mean, I guess it isn't surprising when you consider that Clemson without Trevor Lawrence took them to overtime and probably should have won the game in a way. Like the fact that Notre Dame got to overtime and then won it there was in the end kind of the upset. So I guess on that basis, it makes sense. But yeah, it wouldn't stun me if in the very least it's closer. It's a single digit result.
Yeah. So here's my question, and I always love. I feel like ever since they started doing the playoffs, there's no sport that debates rankings and like who's the best more than college football, to the point where it's so annoying. But this is one for me. Now, obviously the top four are what make the playoffs. If Clemson go out and beat Notre Dame pretty handedly, does Notre Dame deserve a chance in the top four with a one loss, beating Clemson without Trevor Lawrence, but losing to them later in the year, right before the playoffs? Or is it more of like, this was a pre-playoff game, you lost, so now you're out of the playoff race?
It's a tough one. I think they'll be in no matter what. But in a way, I think the idea should be if you lose to another playoff team over the course of the season, that should kind of rule you out, unless the rest of the college football kind of landscape has underperformed. But in a season when there are lots of undefeated teams or single loss teams, like when you have Cincinnati as an undefeated team who are currently totally outside of the playoff picture. Now, the issue is, right, I mean, college football, the thing that they do, they'll never change it because the endless debate is like drives interest in the sport. And the fact that the mandate of the committee is to pick who they think are the four best teams, not who have the four best, not the four best records, not any criteria that could really, they could pick anyone, right? Like they can pick any college and argue that we think this is one of the best four teams.
Yep.
And for that reason, I mean, look, if I get why people get upset, then like if you're a Cincinnati fan, you're going to be annoyed that they're going to miss out. There's been those, like USF, didn't they win like 25 straight games or something crazy and never even got in like into the top four?
But they still call themselves national champions.
But I don't. Sorry, college football, not for me. This is squid territory, so humor me. Wait, a committee picks the teams?
So to quickly, not to give you too much information, because I know that next week or we're going to do, the squid is going to return to make bowl game predictions. But basically, obviously, college football, huge number of teams. They're all split into different conferences. They don't play each other. I mean, there's cross-conference play, but you're never going to play. Obviously, it's impossible for you to play all the other teams, all the other Division I teams or anything. So there's going to have to be, to decide who makes it to the playoffs or who makes it into bowl games, you have to pick a committee who's then going to decide who should make it, because you can't do it just based on record. And so there is a committee that decides the rankings after each week, and then who picks the teams that go into the playoffs. And their instructions are for this 4-team playoff to pick who they think are the 4 best teams in the country. So they can ignore records, they can ignore performances, they can ignore whatever they want. It's just who they think, fundamentally who they think, like on their day, peak performance, best 4 teams. In that way, they could produce potentially the best playoff outcome.
That seems open to bribery, right?
No, imagine. I guess the scenario.
I would say
imagine
it's
just.
I was gonna say it's not bribery, but there is a lot more money to be made with the big teams. So it's not bribery in a sense, but I think there's a sway in what teams are picked because the bigger teams are going to bring in bigger money, bigger draws, and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of that aspect, whether they want to say there is or not.
The way to, I guess, kind of explain it the best, Sam, is imagine if the football league was divided into, each team only played, say, 12 matches, and it was divided, all the full kind of range of English teams were divided. So 92 clubs were divided into, 9 divisions, and they didn't really, so most teams didn't play each other, regional divisions. And then at the end of the year, you had to put some committee together who was then going to decide which 4 of these teams are going to play each other in a semifinal and a final. And the tendency then would be, no matter what happened, so you could have a season where Blackburn beat Manchester City, but then at the end of it, they go, but we all know Manchester City are better, right? Like, we're going to put Manchester City in the playoffs. Like, we're not going to be stupid here. Like, just because there was this one fluke game doesn't change the fact that this team is clearly the better team. And that's kind of the situation that this committee is put in. Is do you ignore what is patently obvious to anyone who watches the sport, which is like, it's clear that these big teams are going to be the best teams year in, year out. But obviously it annoys then smaller teams who can feel like they put a really good season together and it gets overlooked.
Eddie, I thought you were going to go Champions League, I think is the better analogy. If you were to take Champions League, you have different, like completely different conferences that rarely ever overlap, just like you would, like someone in the French top league playing someone in the Premier League. But then you also have the fact that out of all of those leagues, you have to choose just 4 teams as the best. So you have, in a league where I'm trying to think of who's actually winning. Who's winning this year in Italy in this Serie A?
AC Milan.
At the moment.
Yeah, so is AC Milan the better team, even though Juventus is probably the better team, even though they're not the number 1 team at the time. So even that can kind of play into it a little bit, like how Eddie's saying. They're trying to choose the best team.
Let's use France as the clear example, because I know you're going to get some listener who argues that AC Milan are better than Juventus this year, but the
time will tell.
Imagine if France had to nominate a single team to represent them in the Champions League. And at the moment, Lille are top of the table. Now, you would have some people who would say, well, we send Lille because, say this stayed true for the rest of the season, Lille have won the league. And then you have a bunch of other people go, yeah, Lille won, but we all know PSG are better, right?
Yeah.
And that's where how the college football system works.
And then the other tough part,
promotion relegation. Then why don't they just have the worst teams in a lower league?
Because promotion and top league. Promotion and relegation is un-American, Sam.
No, well, it's different though, because it's conferences, and conferences don't want to join. Like they're very needy with like their teams. They don't want to let up the teams that they have in their current conference, and teams don't want to go to other conferences. So that's the other hard part too. Is if you take it like Champions League, you have conferences that are super strong, and then you have conferences that aren't as strong. So the team who wins, let's say, I don't know, like even right now, like the Pac-12, even though they win, are they deserving to be one of the only 4 teams picked out of a dozen or so conferences? It's the same. Like if you were to do Champions League, it'd be really tough to say, like, does a Spanish team get picked over an English team or an Italian team?
Well, that's different because that goes down to coefficients, right? That's data over previous years worth of good performances by any team.
But you can't do that in college because the turnover, teams turn over so often in college. It's tough. It's not easy. I'll give it to them. It's not easy to do. The easier solution is to just expand the playoff a small amount. You don't have to go crazy like in basketball.
I think even if you expand the playoffs, you're just pushing the problem. Okay, you're guaranteeing that you just get to pick Clemson and Ohio State and whatever every year in, year out, and it doesn't cause debate. But you will still have, like, say you made it 6 teams or 8 teams to simplify it and not have buys. 8 teams right now. So does Cincinnati, who's currently ranked 9, they miss out, but they're undefeated. Like you're going to have the same issue.
Yeah.
All the time.
No, I agree. You're always going to have it. I mean, you even have it with college basketball. People argue who's the 64th and 65th best team, But I think at the end of the day, you can at least say, listen, you did miss out on being the top 8. But the chances of you winning at the number 7 or 8 seed is pretty low to begin with anyway. So you have to feel more confident that if you pick the top 6 or 8, you're not missing the team that's actually the best team. If you're picking the top 4, there's a good chance that the 5th or 6th team is the best team in the nation. But if you're picking the top 8, it's pretty rare that the 9th or 10th best team is actually the number 1.
But if they're undefeated, how do you tell
there's not 9 undefeated teams usually.
That's
no, but there's
how do
2
you
undefeated
tell,
teams currently outside the top 8.
Yeah, I know.
How do you tell
right.
Cincinnati? Like, so Cincinnati. So I'm guessing what there is here is there's like an inherent bias in the league. So one league is a lot better than another league.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Cincinnati's league is just worse. Period. But that doesn't mean that Cincinnati are a bad team because their league's bad. It just means that they haven't had the exposure to the better sides, right? And that's not Cincinnati's problem.
The number of times you said league is definitely going to trigger any college football fan out there. But no, basically what you're saying there is right, Sam. And then people then think the strength of schedule, if you come through the SEC and lost once versus playing in a weaker conference and having gone undefeated, that your strength of schedule would mean that you're better off with the record of, 11-1 versus 12-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess another way to do it would to really encourage more interconference play. So at least that way
how hard would it be to require that, hey, if you want to be eligible for the playoffs, then you have to have a scheduled game against a top 10, a team that was ranked in the top 10 the year before.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're not eligible.
Yeah.
At least there you'd be answering some problems.
But mostly every major conference would fill that criteria, so they would never have to play any of these smaller conferences still.
Yeah, but the smaller conferences are never going to make it. I mean, let's be real. They're never going to make it anyway. So,
but I mean, if you brought up the good example in UCF, right? I mean, the year they went undefeated, they then went to the Peach Bowl and beat Auburn, who was, I think at the time ranked 5th or 6th. They were like one of the teams that was just out of it, and they beat them pretty badly. So there's a chance that even though they were in a lesser division, they were undefeated and they may have been the best team, but because they were in a lesser division, they got, pushed to the side. And I think more often than not, that's probably not the case, that those teams like Cincinnati probably would get demolished by a team like Ohio State, but there is a small chance. So it's tough. I don't know. But at the end of the day,
it's particularly tough too, right? And particularly during kind of the COVID era, the impact on an injury. Like if Trevor Lawrence isn't, say hypothetically, Trevor Lawrence was not going to return this year for Clemson, well, then they're not a top 4 team. And
then also the game they lost was because he had COVID.
Yeah. But you feel in this weird way that obviously with Trevor Lawrence playing, then they should be ranked probably either first, but if not second. But are you ranking them based on the idea that everyone's fit and healthy? Or are you ranking them on the idea of what their current state of their squad is? That's another issue.
Yeah. And you have teams that went the other way. Not that Penn State would have been that great, but their best player defensively, Micah Parsons, who's probably a top 15 pick, decided to opt out when given the chance with all the COVID issues.
If it hadn't been for that, Penn State would have been in the playoffs.
Undefeated.
Just that one. They were just missing that one crucial piece in the puzzle. Yep. But I guess that's probably enough college football coverage so that we don't give away too much information to Sam ahead of Sam the Squid crawling out of the water and making his picks from that sandy beach that he lives on.
And for our new listeners who don't know what the hell we're talking about, Sam the Squid is the alter ego of co-host Sam, who has no idea of what he's picking.
And what a
picks
guy.
Basically,
who would have guessed?
Who basically picks the octopus that predicted the World Cup matches way back when. Paul the Octopus.
2010 World Cup.
2 pretty good success so far.
So far, yeah. You've
Frank with NHL, and
you didn't beat me.
Okay with baseball. Is that your line?
You nearly beat me.
Yeah, I think Pyrrhic was the term we concluded with, wasn't it, for Frank?
Yeah. And you had an NBA round where you got everything right, which is unbelievable. But yeah, no, we'll see how you can do. We can see if you can translate that to college football next week.
there's a ton of teams and so many I wouldn't know. So that'll be good, actually.
It'll be really good. It'll be really fun to see how well you do, because I don't know how many bowl games are going to be, but it'll be interesting.
But I guess then, speaking of our records and picking, that gives me an opportunity to give you the update on how we did last week. So a fairly decent week all around. No catastrophic results. Moneyline picks, I was 11-5. Sam, you were 9-7, and Frank, you were 8-8.
Shit.
And then against the spread, I was 9-7. Sam, you were 6-10, and Frank, you were 7-9.
Yes. So now I'm up one on the spread and down one on the money line.
Well, we'll have to hear it. Yeah, that was the impact of this week. But next week, I'll come to you with the full recount is on. It's taking longer than the presidential election to
no, you can't recount. There's no such thing as a recount. If we learned anything in this presidential election, recounts are bullshit.
But,
well, the previous results are getting certified in the States.
Yes. So next week, I'll give you the full updated table, but one or two administrative errors have been caught so far. No accusations of fraud, simply good faith errors, but we'll see if those shake up the standings in any way.
Yeah, there's no coincidence that the only person who doesn't have access to the spreadsheet is the one who's in last, right?
I mean, you could have access.
Right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
And also you're going down that rabbit hole of like the amount of collaboration that Eddie and I would have to do. Like, I'll have the terrible week this week kind of thing is crazy.
Also,
it's too much effort.
Oh, you mean kind of like losing the presidential election, but winning the races in Congress?
Also, Frank, it would be entirely reliant on you being unable to remember how you've done. This is the thing. It's like, and there's two issues with that. Not only could you have access to this spreadsheet if you wanted to, not only could you just remember roughly what your record is week in, week out and who you picked on a weekly basis, but also we release a podcast where you publicly state your picks. All of those have remained up. You could go back and figure it out yourself if you were really, really dedicated. Like, we would be relying on, there would be great collusion on our end and tremendous incompetence on yours.
Incompetence in trusting my friends and fellow co-hosts that they're accurately recording results.
Mistake number one. But yeah, Sam, do you want to see if Frank can have another good week then, I guess, because he's probably not got one wrong so far. But fortunately, we've been able to manipulate results. Let's see if he has another perfect week this time around.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, we're at week 15 and 17, so it's all getting close to that playoff time, isn't it? Well, here we are. So I guess we'll kick things off with the Chargers at the Raiders. And the Raiders are 3.5-point favorites. I don't know who wants to go first.
I feel like the spread should be higher. Like, I know we spent the early part of the season saying how the Raiders were sort of not respected enough in the spreads, and they justified that for a long time when they were good. The wheels seem to have come off the Raiders season, and only slightly papered over by the fact that they had that last second victory against the Jets, because otherwise their season would already be over. But the Chargers are just terrible. Like, I don't see what the redeeming feature of the Chargers is at the moment. So I'm taking the Raiders to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, I think at the moment the Chargers are just going through the motions, right, for the end of their season. And the Raiders still have something to play off. They're still very much in playoff contention. And yeah, I agree. I mean, when you look at it, the Chargers are giving away about 29 a game at the moment. And I just think, for what it's worth, yeah, the Raiders have gone downhill, but I think the spread is a bit too kind for the Chargers. So yeah, I'm taking the Raiders and the points as well.
Yeah, so the Raiders have a 20% chance still to make the playoffs. I've got a lot of the percentages as we go through the teams. They're definitely still in contention, albeit a little far out, but still there. The issue, I think, of why the spread is closer than what it should potentially be is, the last 4 games, the Raiders have let up 35, 43, 28 to the Jets, and 44. That's a shit ton of points. And this could be a chance for Herbert to kind of bounce back a little bit. He's had 2 tough weeks. I'm going to go Chargers here. I'm going to go Chargers to win and Chargers to cover.
Hey, Sam, what do you think the odds are that Frank just does the thing he's fundamentally done all year and picks Herbert, the Lions, and the Texans? Oh, and let's just throw the Giants in there, too.
I don't usually pick the Giants.
Eddie, I honestly thought you were going to
against the spread.
Oh, well, they're good against the spread. They are good against the spread, though.
I thought Eddie,
time will tell, Eddie, won't it?
I thought you were going to go with the swing, where it's like, oh, if Sam and Eddie go one way, I'll go the other to try and get the 2-point gain on them. I thought that was going to be the flavor of the week.
So far, that strategy has not been working for him.
Time to rethink that one.
Yeah, true. The Americans in third place after all, right? So, all right. Next up, you got the high-flying Bills at the Broncos, and the Bills are 6-point favorites.
Yeah, Drew Lock coming off the most impressive quarterback performance of the year. That is sure to please Frank, who is a Drew Lock denier. But this seems like a really good matchup for the Bills. Now, whether or not their defense maintains the level of play that it had last week, I don't think it even really needs to in this game, just because of how bad the Broncos are defensively. They're not good at stopping the run. They've allowed the 5th most rushing yards in the league, an average of 131 yards per game. But I think more importantly, the fact is they're now missing their 4 top cornerbacks due to injury and suspension. So it's hard to see if the Bills turn up here. It's just hard to see how the Broncos are going to be able to get defensive stops. So I'm going to take the Bills to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, just look at the way the Bills are at the moment. Like, Allen's had 34 touchdowns this season, but also the Bills in the last 5 games have got 11 turnovers. So their defense is turning up kind of big time at the moment. And whatever Locke did last time was great, but it's still the Broncos against what is a really, really good Bills team at the moment. So yeah, I'm with Eddie. I'm taking the Bills on the points.
Eddie mentioned injuries, but he forgot to mention one very important injury. Brandon McManus is out for the Broncos. So on a team that has the worst QB in the NFL, needs to rely on a really good kicker, and now their really good kicker is out. They're going to definitely lose some points there. And this game's just going to get out of control, I think, by the third quarter. I'll take the Bills in a big win here.
So Drew Lock is the worst QB in the NFL.
Still the worst QB. Eddie, even a blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while. Okay.
But are you gonna clarify here? He's the worst starting QB?
No, he's the worst QB? He's the worst QB, and that's including if a fan is in a stadium and they played high school junior varsity QB one time, that person is still better than Drew Lock.
Except we kind of saw what that looked like for the Broncos a few weeks ago, and it was not pretty.
In the long term, I would have taken that guy over Drew Lock. And that's how bad Drew Lock is I can't remember his name. It's just that guy.
All right, so Bills and points all round. So next up is the Panthers at the Packers, and the Packers are 8.5-point favorites. I mean, for this one, it feels not a little bit simple, but you just look at the way Rodgers is playing at the moment. He's just absolutely flying at the moment. I think it's 39. I think it's 39 touchdowns to 4 interceptions at the moment. They score just upwards of like 31 points a game. Look at the Panthers. They've lost, I think they're on, like, apart from the one win recently, they've lost like 7 of the last 8. But also the interesting one was the defense has given away 23 passing touchdowns this season. And then when you're looking at a QB that's throwing 39 in that way, yeah, for me, it's a bit of a no-brainer. Like, there's a lot of big spreads this week, but the 8.5 for this one feels like a one of the better ones. So yeah, I'm taking the Packers and the points here.
Yeah, I'm also with Sam on this one as well. So you have the 27th ranked pass defense in the Panthers going against Aaron Rodgers. It has the slight potential for a trap game, but the thing I think that will stop that from happening is we've talked for the whole season now at the type of person Aaron Rodgers is, and I think him winning an MVP is something he really wants. And he might say it's all about the team, but I think he wants some of that respect of being, one of the best QBs ever. And obviously racking up MVPs is one of the ways to prove you're one of the best ever. So he's in a race right now with Mahomes. They're pretty much neck and neck right now. So I think he's going to come out flying against the team he knows he can toss the ball around. So I can see him lighting up the score to kind of pad the stats a little bit.
Yeah, I think you both kind of covered most of it here. I think it's fairly straightforward one here, and I'm going to take the Packers to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, -8. That sounds like a Rodgers rate to me.
Oh, 8.5. I don't know if that changes your mind, Frank.
8.5. Still a Rodgers rate.
All right. Next up, you've got the Bears at the Vikings. Are we all on the Trubisky bandwagon now? Is this a changed Bears team?
Every blind squirrel can find a nut once in a while.
Am I going to hear that like 13 more times now?
Yeah. It's one of the rare times that you've got a guy talking about nuts and you're not getting excited, Sam.
So both still have about 20% chance for a playoff spot. That's not exact, but like around 20%. So they're both still in the playoff hunt. But for some reason, at least to me, it feels like the Vikings are a much better playoff team if either were to make the playoffs than the Bears. I'll stick with the Vikings. They did win against Chicago earlier this year, 19-3. But even now you have Dalvin Cook's running a little better. Justin Jefferson stepping up as a primetime receiver. So I think they're going to win this pretty handedly.
I have like a pretty big chill announcement to make here. And that is I'm going to be abandoning the Vikings longship this week. The Kirk Cousins IV drip is well and truly dry. And I am going to be picking the Bears to win this one, and I'm taking the points with them. I am fully on the Mitch Trubisky bandwagon.
It's an interesting one, right? Because I look at the last two games, and it was just completely contrasting. Like no one expected Trubisky to come out like the way they did. So do you make of that as they've somehow clicked, even though they lost the previous 6? But then you look at Cousins, where the Vikings were coming off the back of a good run. And then what was he? Got sacked like 6 times in that game. And now I've got no idea about the Vikings. 3-point spread. I think, what was it? The Cardinals Giants last week, where it's like one of those games where like, even though the Giants have been performing well, the Cardinals are just a better team at the spread they were given. And honestly, the only reason I'm going to go with the Vikings here is I just feel like they're the better team and the points being given is pretty good. I think the Bears have more of ability to put up very little, whereas I think the Vikings will do much better. So I'm going to go with the Vikings at the cover.
The Vikings are undoubtedly the better team. That's not up for debate. But the Vikings have been the better team than most of the teams they've played all year round. And the Vikings have a 20% chance of making the playoffs. So who the better team is on paper going onto the field this weekend is not the question. The real thing to ask yourselves, Kirk Cousins in a divisional game that basically decides the future of their playoff hopes. That's when Kirk Cousins lets you down.
I mean, the other issue, too, is the Vikings have said that they're sticking with Dan Bailey, who potentially could have cost them that win against the Bucs. I mean, they still lost by 12, but it makes it a much different game.
Yeah, I think that's
could he make field goals?
I think that's unfair on the Bucs and on Dan Bailey, but yeah.
All right. Frank, how many points do you want the Lions to have to take the Lions against the Titans?
-5.
Really tease this line.
You can keep your points. I mean, the thing is, I don't know if Stafford's playing or not. It's still questionable.
Does it matter?
Yes, because did you see when Stafford went out last game and they put Chase Daniel in and he caught the ball in a shotgun, stood there for 5 seconds, and then got sacked by 7 players?
Yeah, but which is better, that or Matthew Stafford throwing an interception?
I'd rather take the interception. Maybe they can fumble on the tackle and pick it up and run it for a touchdown.
Wow, you've definitely gone to the Matt Patricia school of coaching.
No, there's no way I take the Lions here. You have Derrick Henry, who's just been on an absolute roll lately, and he's playing the 29th ranked run defense. So I can't see it being close. And if Chase Daniel gets put in there, whatever the spread is now might go to double digits. So you might even get value if you can take it now.
I hate to break it to you, Frank.
I haven't actually told you the double digits, but it is 11.
Yeah.
Oh, then Stafford must not be playing because yesterday it was 8.
I guess.
So it switched from 8 to 11.
People just stop listening to you and they realize the Lions are atrocious. Like one of two things could happen there.
11. That's interesting.
I want to watch you walk this all back now.
I mean,
I will take the Titans to win, but 11 is a lot of points.
Do it. You need to do it. Do it. And I'm sure that both Sam and I will take the Titans minus 11. So you have the added bonus of an opportunity to get one back on both of us.
Yeah.
All right, give me the Lions plus 11. They'll keep it close.
Wait, Titans to win, but Lions plus 11, or you want to go Lions win? You want to really get back on that money line?
Watch, you want me to swing this? Hey, they played a great game against the Bears, and then they brought the Packers to the last drive, only lost by a touchdown, and had a chance to win, to at least tie that game before Chase Daniel got his ass kicked in the 4th and goal. So if they can keep it close against the Packers, then they can definitely keep it close against the Titans. There you go. Walk it back.
So
I'll be quick.
Lions?
Titans are the way better team. The Lions, I think they're all probably planning their vacations, and the Titans are going to win and cover the 11 points. I'd probably take the Titans minus 15.
Yeah.
Even with Matthew Stafford.
I don't know about that, but I mean, there's only one name, right? It's Derrick Henry is playing out of his skin at the moment. I think it was another 200-yard game against the Jags as well, and you just can't stop him at the moment. So why do I think the Lions will? So yeah, I'm taking Titans and the points as well. So next up is.
Hold on, Sam. Here's a question for you, Frank. Potentially, have we seen Matthew Stafford's last performance in a Detroit Lions uniform?
Maybe. I don't know though, because they're 5-8. They could probably win one more. With 6 wins, they're not going to get a great draft pick to get someone to replace him, unless they go with a veteran. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe they get Carson Wentz.
Texans at the Colts, and the Colts are 7.5 point favorites.
You ruined it, Sam. You should have asked Frank again. How many points does he need to take the Texans?
That's true, actually. Damn.
To be completely honest, I really wasn't listening at that 1 second.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
well,
Frank.
I mean, let's test it then, Frank.
Yeah.
How many points do you need to take the Texans?
7.5, 8.
I
need to go over a touchdown.
Okay, well, lucky for you then. The spreads, as Sam said a couple minutes ago, is 7.5.
I love how he tried to
I'm being dead serious.
I didn't from the 90s called Mystic Meg. I like how he tried to do this thing I'd have to go over a touchdown. Have to.
I think they keep it within a 1 score.
So you're taking the Texans.
So you're taking the Texans then?
No.
Wait, what?
I know, you don't. Somehow you've turned this situation.
No, I'll take the Texans. I'll take Indy to win, but I'll stick with my guns and if it's really 7.5, I'll take the Texans to keep it within a score.
What is it, a potato gun? What kind of guns are these? I mean, I don't know what you think, Eddie, I guess, but you can look at it both ways with that Bears well, the Texans lost to the Bears, right? Are they so bad that Trubisky can have that kind of game? But also, I look at it the other way, right? I think I saw the stat that Houston are giving up 28 points a game, and they're giving up an average QB rating of 108. And Phillip Rivers over the last 2 games,
Sam, you're underselling it. They're giving up an average QB rating of 109.6.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, it's just, you look at the Colts and the last 2 games, they're still battling the Titans for the AFC South, but also they've scored 70 in the last 2. And that, I think this will be a stroll for the Colts. Although they're a little bit Jekyll and Hyde sometimes, I just think the way the Texans allow QBs to do damage against them, but simultaneously the way Colts are scoring at the moment, yeah, I'm taking the Colts and to cover the 7.5.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I think the fact now for the Colts that Jonathan Taylor has kind of evolved into a real force in their offense, that seems to have solved a lot of their problems. Probably takes a little bit of the pressure off Phillip Rivers as well. So I think this should be relatively comfortable for them. I think the Texans are absolutely awful.
They're absolutely awful, but a week ago when they played the Colts, they likely could have beaten them had they not fumbled on the 2-yard line going in.
Yeah, I mean, you just love to do this. You like hypotheticals. Like if they hadn't done this and hadn't done that, they would have won.
Well, okay, either way, they still lost by 6, so they would cover.
Okay, well, congratulations, Texans. You didn't lose by that much. But I mean, look, they're terrible. Real question is Deshaun Watson
sucks.
Or Drew Lock, who's the better quarterback?
Get out of here. That's such an insult to our podcast, Eddie, that you'd ask such a blasphemous question.
Don't bring me into this.
If the Texans called up the Broncos tomorrow and they said, we want to trade you Deshaun Watson for Drew Lock, who says no faster?
Deshaun Watson, because he doesn't want to go to the Broncos.
I guess
it's more of like the Michael Scott from The Office, where he's like, no. It's one of those.
Yeah, just to simplify this, I'm taking the Colts and the Colts to cover the spread, and the Texans are terrible.
Nice. I've got that in the note as well, by the way, just in case it hadn't been known beforehand. I'm actually interested at the end of the season, by the way, to see who we backed more in matchups and who we took with the spread and things like that. That'll be an interesting take on it as well.
Going into the playoffs, I'll break down that data, and then Frank can accuse me of making it up.
Yeah, because then we'll know truly how much Frank believes in these Texans and these Lions.
I think it's going to be unbelievable to see the number of times he picked the Texans and the Lions.
And then the great thing is, like, Frank's into science. He's a data man. He's going to realize why he's third.
I just think it's going to be amazing that it's going to be a high percentage of Frank picking the Lions, the Texans, and the Giants. In all likelihood, 3 teams that will have missed the playoffs. It will just be, yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Actually, I think the next one actually worked for Frank, either last week or the week before. So it's the Jags at the Ravens. And you know what, Frank? Let's do it again. How many points do you need for the Jaguars at the Ravens?
Yeah, I think I need a big one here. I think the Ravens are coming off of that. Like Eddie said, they have to feel good after that win. And now they need to start just cruising at the end here to get a good push into the playoffs if they can make the playoffs. So it would have to be like 17.
Huh?
So
you get 30.
How many are you giving me? 13. It's actually a decent amount because pretty neat statistic. The Ravens have won 6 games by more than 14 points. That leads the AFC. And the Jaguars have lost 5 games by 14 or more. So I'll stick with that and say the Ravens. The only worry I have is Minshew Magic's coming back. And you never know with the guy who carries a Crown Royal bottle around in jean short shorts. Never know. You don't bet against that guy. but I
you
will.
might.
But I will.
The real question here is, and we won't know this obviously until the game, but how many minutes or quarters will Lamar Jackson spend shitting himself in the locker room? I mean, that could significantly shift this line. But no, this seems like a fairly straightforward one for the Ravens. So I'm going to take them to win and to cover the spread, and then fully expect that next week we get into the full swing Ravens being loved by the media again and being discussed as a real Super Bowl contender. And even people spinning it, have they timed this just right? Like, are the Ravens the team peaking at the right time to win the Super Bowl? Like, that's the conversation we're about to get.
And is Lamar Jackson an elite passing QB?
Oh, God, not that shit again.
I wonder in NFL, because I know it happens in football, so you guys might be able to add this one as well. But when you have those kind of incredible momentum shifting, has everything kind of games in it, does the fallout happen much in, is it kind of the follow-up games where it just goes the complete opposite way because it was so draining or so much kind of passion and emotion went into it? Like, I'm curious because I know it happens a lot in Europe when you have like a Champions League epic night and then they have a routine game in the Premier League and, mess it up, I guess. But I'm curious.
I'm sure Bill Barnwell has some crazy statistic on that because
except he wouldn't, right? Because he doesn't believe in momentum. So,
he would have a statistic to prove against that.
Yeah, I think not as much, but then usually probably helped. I think the downside with the Champions League, right, is that you maybe play on a Wednesday and then a Saturday, so it's a short turnaround. Okay, admittedly, the Ravens played on Monday night, so it's a shorter week, but still, there's more time. The other thing working in their favor is you could make the argument this is the kind of a trap game in the sense that the Ravens will be just already penciling in a W and looking ahead to another game. The thing against that is their remaining games are the Giants and the Bengals. So who are they potentially looking ahead to?
Bengals, obviously, but yeah, what's your next question?
No, I mean, like the playoffs. This is they've got a dream end of schedule.
Yeah. I mean, like I was curious about it. I don't think it really affects because I don't really need to talk about the Ravens when you look at the Jags. Like, they're in the bottom 5 for both scoring and points allowed. And like the way the Ravens have played, turn the corner against Cowboys, play so well against the Browns, like I can only see this being a bit of a blowout. So yeah, I'm taking the Ravens into cover as well. But I was kind of curious because I know you have these epic games in NFL, but you rarely see those kind of everything style games like the Monday night one or the highlights I saw anyway. But I was just kind of curious on how that affects the team. But all right, next up, Patriots and the Dolphins. And I think we kind of discussed this on the last podcast as well about, whether there's that shot that if the Patriots win this one, do they kind of go ahead of the Dolphins in terms of like playoff hopes? The Dolphins are 1.5 point favorites, so this is a bit of a toss-up. So what do you guys think? I already penciled in my prediction last time, and I want to take the Patriots here. I just really go for that Belichick against a rookie QB, and I just think the Patriots are building up that 45-0 win was a little odd with like special teams, but I just think the Patriots are building something here. They may still miss out, don't get me wrong, but I just think they're doing something, and I like that. I just like the way that they destroyed a rookie QB previously, and I think they'll do something similar, but won't destroy. But yeah, I'll take the Patriots and take the points.
Sam, I've got a great stat for you because I knew you were going to bring that up because you had mentioned it last week. Belichick has won 11 consecutive games against rookie QBs, and the last 3 games are against first-round quarterbacks. They've beat them 118-17. So over 100 points in 3 games difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this game really matters, right? I mean, this is everything for the Patriots, I guess, and the Dolphins, because they know if they lose, they're kind of staring at that reversal with the Patriots, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's a both must win. The Patriots, if they lose, they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. But if the Dolphins lose, then there's a good chance that they could also be out. I would normally, I think, be very much with the Dolphins because their defense looks very good and they're very turnover heavy. And you have a Patriots team who can't really score and their offense isn't great. So even if Belichick has this scheme to stop Tua and he stops him to 17 points, I think they could still win with 17 points, no problem, because the Patriots might score 3. The only issue I have is you have Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki both out for the Dolphins. And especially Gesicki, he's been amazing for the Dolphins this year in tight situations when they need a clutch catch, a clutch touchdown. He's been stepping up like crazy. That really, really worries me. But I think I'm still going to go with the Dolphins simply for the fact that I think the Dolphins defense against a very poor Patriots offense, even if the Dolphins can only put up 14 points, I think they can still win.
Yeah, I'm really torn on this one. The Dolphins are the better team, but then it does come back to this. And not a knock on Flores because he's a very good head coach, but it does come back to just like Bill Belichick against a rookie quarterback in a must-win game. Like there's a lot of reasons here to maybe want to pick him. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Patriots to win.
That sounded like a game time decision there.
Yeah. It kind of was. I think it's a complete toss-up. I mean, as indicated in a way by the spread, right? But I think this is a complete toss-up. And you could, it's another one of those games where you could tell me any outcome on, like I could not watch this game and Monday you could tell me Dolphins won by 30, Patriots won by 30. I could absolutely believe either scenario. So I don't feel confident at all. That being said, the Patriots did run the ball pretty effectively against the Dolphins in their previous matchup. They rushed the ball for 217 yards. So as good as this Dolphins defense is, it does seem like the Patriots will at least be able to move the ball on them reasonably effectively. So that's why I'm going to take the Patriots.
All right. Next up is the Seahawks at Washington football team. And the football team are 5-point underdogs.
You're such an asshole.
I mean, it actually was quite difficult to do. Like, I don't understand how that can become a habit for anyone. But yeah, Seattle are 5-point favorites. And I mean, I'm happy to start here. I actually think this is a good matchup for Washington. I think one of the best things about them at the moment is their defensive line. They really get to teams. And Wilson's been sacked 40 times this season. I think they're on a good momentum at the moment. Washington, they've won 4. They had a good win against the Niners. They had a really good win against the Steelers, even though the Steelers didn't do too much. But I don't know. I just think Seattle have it in them to have some bad games. I'm going to just ignore how good the offense looked against the Jets in the blowout win. But I don't know. I just think Washington at home, I think, is a good matchup with pass defense. And I'm going to take Washington and with the 5.
I mean, the real question here is it looks as if Alex Smith is going to miss this game. And to me, that's the absolute. I would have taken Seattle. Even he still may play, but even if you told me he absolutely was going to play, I would still pick Seattle. But to me, that just gives me total confidence in the fact that this is basically a mismatch. So I'm going to take Seattle to win and cover the spread.
So a pretty neat little statistic here is Washington actually has a better chance to win their division at 74%. Than the Seahawks do at 36, but the Seahawks have a 99% chance to make it to the playoffs. So they do hold the cards there. I agree. Washington without Alex Smith is trouble. Washington hasn't lost by more than 3 points since week 5. That's a pretty crazy statistic. But I think Seattle they had a little bump in the middle of that season, and I think they're starting to come back from that now. So I expect another big win by them.
49ers at the Cowboys, and the 49ers are 3-point favorites. Over to you, Niners Nation.
A little bit torn on this one because in a way, based on the performance against Washington last week, I don't know why the Niners would be favorites against the Cowboys. And I'm going to pick the Cowboys. And that's a bad sign because every time I've picked the Cowboys this year, they have been absolutely flat and terrible. So this is one of those where it's kind of a lose-lose situation for me, but I'm just going to assume that I think kind of spoke about some other teams who are mentally checked out and starting to book their vacations. I think the Niners are now firmly in that category. So as motivated and as well coached as they have been for games this year, and that has carried them to a few unlikely victories, I think that you're going to stop seeing that be the case. So taking the Cowboys.
Eddie, who has a better shot to make the playoffs from a percentage standpoint?
I would assume the Cowboys.
Nope. The Niners have a 9% chance. The Cowboys have a 1% chance. The Cowboys basically have to win out because of all the tiebreakers. And then all the other teams basically have to lose.
Wow.
In the NFC East.
I would say that happens more than 1% of the time.
I mean, that was a terrible episode of Niners Nation as well. The crowd is furious.
Sometimes you have to hit them with some, reality bullets. That's
Is that what they call them at the riots across America?
Yes.
Have some of these reality bullets. I could imagine them being like branded and packaged up like that. Yeah.
There's a bunch of snowflakes in the Niners Nation, and there had to be a call this week. So yeah, I'm hitting them with some hard truths, and then we'll move on. We'll be better. We'll do better next week.
The truth cannon firing out some reality bullets at the Niners Nation.
I prefer to call it the truth nuke, but yes.
Truth nuke, like it. Frank, what do you think of the Niners-Cowboys game?
I'm so torn because I think the Cowboys are trash, but I can't pick Mullins. I watched him last week, and it's just awful. He's gross. He could be one of the. You know what? You asked me if Drew Lock is the worst QB in the NFL. He might have a battle on his hands with Mullins.
Just to be clear, the way you're describing it, it doesn't even sound like you watched their game. You're like, I watched him last week, and he's gross. Like, completely unrelated to his football performance.
His football performance is equally as gross as he is. It's tough. I mean, unless they're playing the Rams, the Niners seem to just get blown out of games. So on that fact alone, I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys. I think Dalton's better than Mullins, so I'll stick with that.
I think this was one of those games where I wrote down, I'll wait to see how I pick other underdogs against the spread as well. And it's one of those where I was like, do I balance out where I back favorites to cover the spread? And honestly, this was one of them. I was like, I've seemed to pick quite a few favorites to cover the spread. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'll take the Cowboys and cover. Like, I don't really have any other reason, to be honest. Next up is the Bucks at the Falcons, and the Bucks are 6-point favorites.
This is such a one to be careful about because somehow Matt Ryan managed to lose that game for the Falcons last week in unbelievable circumstances. I mean, it kind of just crazy to throw it away twice effectively at the end of the game. But it would be very typical of the Falcons now to bounce back and get this kind of unexpected victory, high-profile game against Tom Brady. But I just think that the Bucks defense is just going to be too strong. So I'm going to take the Bucks to win and to cover the spread.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this. Eddie put it perfectly. You never know with the Falcons. They might come out and play well. I think Julio Jones is out and Calvin Ridley is still injured but going to play. So that might play a little role. But I think you have to go Bucks here. And if you lose, then you just got caught by a fluke Falcons performance.
Here's the thing, right? Bruce Arians, 0% chance he's the Bucks coach next year.
I thought you were going to say Bruce Arians, percentage chance he chokes out Tom Brady during the regular season or playoffs.
Oh, so you think Bruce Arians versus Tom Brady in a fight? Your money's on Bruce Arians.
I don't know, that TB12 diet, it makes you
he's
pretty
supple.
weak.
I don't know. He's supple though, right? He just like slither out of a chokehold.
I think for me, I was looking at the Falcons, and since they fired Quinn, they're 4-4. I mean, they're doing something. They're being competitive.
Hold on
They're
a
being more
second.
competitive,
They're
right?
doing something. Wow.
Yeah, they're doing something like they're winning games, and it was something that they were just. I mean,
They're
I
winning
know what you said
50% of
about
their
the
games.
throwaway. Yeah, and I just think
Which
those
I
kind
would
of. I know
imagine.
you said
Hold
about
on,
Ryan's
Sam.
famous collapse, but
Hold on. Their record, like post Super Bowl with Quinn, I think was around 500. Right? It was like just under. And then now their record post Quinn is exactly 500. So they're doing exactly what they were doing before.
I just feel like they're doing it a little bit differently and playing better. I just feel like they are. I'm going back to this point where it's like the Falcons are inconsistent. The Bucks are also really inconsistent as well. Yes, the Bucks are a better team, but I don't know. Again, this is just one of those games where I think maybe the Bucks will win, but I think it'll be kept close. So I'm taking the Bucks to win, but I'm going to take the Falcons to keep it close within the 6.
All I can say, Sam, is I hope at my next performance review that I have you there to defend me. Where they're like, a year ago, Edward, you were making these mistakes and you're making exactly the same mistakes 12 months later. And you'll be like, you're right, he's making the same mistakes, but he's making them differently. So let's look on the positives here.
As long as you're learning, as long as you're getting better, even if you're still making those mistakes, if you're making them differently, that's still a new challenge. So yes, I will absolutely defend you.
Great. I'll call you.
Hopefully you don't need to be defended. I just hope that you're doing your job.
Well, you're never perfect, right? So.
All right. Biggest spread of the season is the next one. So Jets at the Rams. Frank, Eddie, have you seen the spread?
I have.
Frank, you seen it? Okay. So we're looking at 17.5-point favorites at the Rams. And I'm certain that's the biggest spread of the season. But I guess, is anyone taking the Jets on that? Or is this a pretty clean sweep for the Rams? I mean, they look really good at the moment, both defensively and look okay offensively. But surely this is going to be an absolute blowout, right?
You'd think so. I think, from my perspective at least, I'll keep this relatively quick. Yeah. It's hard to see why. I mean, obviously the Rams will win. That's for certain. But yeah, I think I would need 20 plus points to be able to pick the Jets. So I'm going to take the Rams to cover.
Yeah. So in the past 6 seasons, there's only been 5 games that have had a spread higher than 17. So this is up there for the most in a very long time. I'm same with Eddie. I'll take the Rams. This is my survivor pick of the week. So I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams to cover.
Yeah, I think it's always one of those things with these kind of spreads when a team just comes out, scores a touchdown at the start, and suddenly, well, I guess in this context, you're looking at 24 points back. But the thing is with the Rams, like they yield the third least points in the NFL. So I think even if I don't think the Jets can even score past this Rams team. So yeah, for me, the 17.5 actually feels okay. So yeah, I'm going to take the Rams and to win as well. Next up is the Eagles at the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are 6-point favorites.
Yeah, I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. Well, just keep it that simple. I think he's terrible, and I think this is a game nice for them to have the good performance and the win against a Saints team that didn't really turn up. But this is where he shows his true colors. And as inconsistent as the Cardinals are, and as frustrating they are in many respects, I think they won't have to be that good to win this game. So I'm going to take the Cardinals to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, Cardinals in a must win here. I guess you could say the same about the Eagles, but Cards right now are sitting about 50% chance to make the playoffs. It'll definitely bump up a lot more if they can win this. Then they have to face the Niners, which you think they could hopefully pull off a win, and then go into the last week against the Rams, with a much better chance to make the playoffs. If they lose one of these next 2, they're pretty much done. So this is a must win for them. I'll take the Cards. Also, I mean, I don't mind Hurts, but I think as your second start, it's going to be a lot tougher than that first one was. So he might not perform as well as everyone in Philly is expecting him to perform. Interesting, though, it's the last two quarterbacks for Oklahoma, and Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts, so matching up against each other.
Yeah, I agree with you both. I think the Cardinals will win this. Like, the thing with Jalen Hurts, right, is he's now going to be front and center, but also you look at that Cardinals defense against the Giants, where they sacked 8 times. They got to the QB 8 times, and he's going to be under pressure. It's going to be a really kind of tough game, I think, for Hurts. So yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals into cover as well. And also Murray played pretty mistake-free football last week. So I think as long as that happens again, this should be a good win for the Cardinals. So next up is the Chiefs at the Saints, and the Chiefs are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a lot to like about the Saints at the moment, so I'm somewhat surprised by how small a spread this is. The only thing I will say is the Chiefs have not been tremendous against the spread this year. They are 6-7 against the spread. They're 5-7 games where they're favored. So I think I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think this will be kind of a statement win from them. Now I'm going to expect them to switch into playoff mode, and this is their opportunity to go on the road, beat the Saints in the Superdome. And maybe from a Mahomes perspective, even for him, could potentially seal the MVP in this one. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win and cover the spread. I just think they'll be too much firepower, too fast, and just score too many points.
I completely agree, Eddie. The thing that kind of gets me, and we've talked about this all year, I think we've kind of both been on a similar feeling. I think the spread is close because there's this expectation that Drew Brees is going to come back. One, he's not going to be 100%. The guy had 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung. Two, coming back to what me and you have agreed on all year, is I don't think Drew Brees is what he was 2, 3, even 1 year ago. So even getting Drew Brees, an 80% Drew Brees, is not that much of an improvement over Taysom Hill. And especially how Taysom Hill played that first half, you could argue that Jameis Winston is the one that you want to start here over both of them.
You're just going to stick with that joke and that hope that people know you're joking. The one thing I'll say is, just not to cut you off, but the only way Drew Brees coming back would make me want to pick the Saints is if you told me that during his time out injured, he had an arm transplant.
That would be really weird.
I agree.
That would be really weird if you had an arm transplant. You would need it to match your skin color and everything, wouldn't it? You would go for some inhumane. I don't know. Wouldn't that just be weird to just get this out? I'd just go for a prosthetic robotic arm, right?
I don't think that would be
illegal. Yeah, you have to be a human arm.
So yeah, just I'm all in on the Chiefs. I think they can win this, and I think they'll cover. Eddie, I have a pretty good statistic for you. So Patrick Mahomes, when trailing by more than 10 points, is 8-1 as a starter. Pretty impressive stat. Do you want to take a guess at who's got the next best record?
Of specifically when trailing by more than 10 points?
Yeah.
Next best out of current quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think it's in the past 2 years, I think.
Russell Wilson.
Nope. Big Ben. And his record is 3-2. That's how crazy of a stat that is. That Mahomes is 8-1, and the next best person is 3-2.
Well, when Big Ben has his back against the wall, he just whips it out and powers forward. So it doesn't surprise me.
We're talking the football field, not the wall of the club.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. He's stubborn.
Yeah, just to top it off, I kind of agree with you all. I think the thing with the Chiefs is you always worry about that. Was it the last 4 that they've won within a score? But this is 3. So it actually kind of fits that bill. The Saints didn't really do much to give me more confidence in them, but I think the Chiefs will just kind of turn it on here and score pretty well, and I think they'll beat the Saints. So yeah, Chiefs and to cover for me. Brings us to the last couple of games. So we've got Browns at the Giants, and the Browns are 4.5-point favorites, which surprises me a little bit, but I don't know what you guys think.
It's hard to see if the Browns can in any way replicate what they did on Monday. I just don't see any avenue for the Giants to even keep this close. Like, I don't see the only selling point here for the Giants is their defense. I think the Browns probably have a better defense, and they clearly have the advantage when it comes to the offense. So I'll keep this relative. I think they will run all over the Giants. And I think you can count on Daniel Jones to have his 2 turnovers, and this is going to get out of hand quickly.
Yeah. So I don't think Daniel Jones is even going to play. From what I've heard now, he hurt his other ankle. So now he has a bum leg and then a bum ankle separate. So he could barely stand in the pocket last week. So I think the right thing to do is just sit him at this point. I mean, being a Giant fan, I'm content with the fact that they kind of overperformed this year. Pack it up. You don't want to go to the playoffs and get embarrassed. You know, save your draft pick, get a good one. Had a decent season for Joe Judge first year. Let's just call it a game. The scary part is maybe Colt McCoy facing his old team in the Browns might be a more motivated, better quarterback than a injured Daniel Jones. The Giants, I don't think they can score enough. I mean, they can barely score over 20 points ever. And you have a Browns team who can definitely score. And I think actually I think Mayfield's going to have another big game. I think they will run the ball decently, but I think Mayfield could have 300 plus yards against this team here, especially working that play action. They'll bite like crazy. I'll take the Browns here. The cool stat I found was they previously faced each other in 2016. So not that long ago. There are only 3 players still on the roster from the Browns 2016 team. I thought that was crazy until I heard that the Giants only have 1 player on that roster from 2016, and that's Sterling Shepard is the only one on the team from 4 years ago. That's insane.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to only have 4 players still on their respective teams.
Yeah, and you have a Browns record. Yeah, and you have a Browns team that has BJ Goodson, Olivier Vernon, and Odell Beckham that were on the Giants. And then you have Jabril Peppers. And breaking news, Jason Garrett now has tested positive with COVID. So who's calling the offensive plays for the Giants? Freddie fucking Kitchens.
Oh, really?
Welcome to Cleveland.
Yeah, I did see that.
Then, my God, this line should be 40.
I was listening to the radio and the guy was like, this is like a movie script waiting to happen. And I really want to call it and be like, is that the worst fucking movie script of all time? Because who wants to see a movie with Freddie Kitchens' revenge story?
I'll keep this quick as well. I just think one of the only problems that the Browns had was that they gave up a lot of ground in the running game. Like, are the Giants going to do anything like that? Probably not. The Browns will completely outscore them here. It'll be a bit of a blowout. So yeah, I'll take the Browns and the points. And then the final game is the Steelers at my poor Bengals. And there is not a scenario where Cincinnati come out with a win in this game. Like, it really doesn't matter about the Steelers, like losing the last couple. When you look at the Steelers, right, they're still first in total defense and they've racked up like 45 sacks, and they're going up against a Bengals team that already can't score with Brandon Allen. I think I don't think it's going to be like the highest scoring game, but I honestly can't see the Bengals getting over like 12, 15, something like that. I can't see it happening. So the Steelers don't need that much. They only need to get 30, and I think that's going to be pretty simple to do. So yeah, I'm taking the spread's 13, and I'm taking that.
Yeah, I'd mostly agree with you. I think this is for a Steelers team that's lost its way a little bit over the last couple of games. This is the perfect tonic for refinding their form. So I think it would be hard for them to pick a better matchup. And yeah, I just think their pass rush is going to get get to Allen all game long. The Bengals are going to struggle to move the ball. I maybe even gives the Steelers an opportunity to try and get their own running game going and to focus on that for a while. But yeah, I think they're going to win and cover the spread.
Now, is that like a fancy fever tree tonic, Eddie, or is that just a generic tonic?
Because it involves the Bengals, it's a very generic, slightly flat tonic.
It's like a soda stream tonic.
Yeah, soda stream that's not working anymore. Yeah, don't get
the gas is at the end. The gas is at the end. What's wrong with soda stream?
It's cursed.
It's very cursed.
You didn't know that
soda stream cursed.
Soda streams are made on disputed territory in Israel, and they are cursed.
And let's just say Frank got his hands on one a few years back, and a lot of people's lives went to shit because of it.
I mean, I guess here's the thing is, interesting twist. Is the soda stream cursed? Or did the Duke of Curse curse the soda stream, and then that cursed other people? This is the thing. We don't know which curse came first.
Sam, I'll just put it this way. I had a soda stream. Some people's lives were worse because of it. I then handed off said soda stream, and then the hands that touched that soda stream, people surrounding them also had much more difficult lives because of it.
Let's put it that soda stream, don't know where it is anymore. It has a kill count of at least 2. Not actual deaths, but just relationships and lives destroyed.
I think it was. I think. Yeah, I was going to say. I think I last saw the soda stream at a fish market in Wuhan. Oh dear. Yeah, Frank. Sorry, you had your pick still, yeah.
Yeah, you're good. I was just interested in the tonic, and you know what I really missed this year. Now that we're on the tonic, I really missed that nice big gin and tonic from our place. That's like the third time I've mentioned that in this podcast, I think. From our place in Clapham. But getting back to this thrilling Monday night game.
Only just going to say 2 issues here. I like that you refer to it as our place. And the other issue is, if we're going to be tied to any bar in London, it's obviously the Big Chill. We can't try and build relationships with a rival bar.
I wouldn't call that a rival bar.
Hey, it's 2 bars. They're all rivals.
That's a very mean way to have an outlook on life, Eddie.
Eddie's very territorial. It doesn't matter the distance. It's a bar.
So the last time they met, the Steelers beat the Bengals 36-10, and that was with Joe Burrow. And I get the Steelers are having some issues, but I don't see that changing. And that was a 26-point win with Joe Burrow. They should have no problem covering. I'll take Steelers into cover.
All right. Another week down. Only 2 to go after this, and then we're in the playoffs.
So, Sam, I guess I need to ask you, we talked in our chat how thrilled you were with a Arsenal draw this weekend. Is that how much your expectations have fallen?
There was a bit of sarcasm in my message, but I tell you what, it was really important for Arsenal to stop the rot at some point and quickly. And they did a couple of things in that. There was a lot of, there was like 3 things that were really messing up Arsenal, to name a few others as well. But there was a lot of talk about the fact that Arsenal had never lost 5 home games in a row since the club's inception in the late 1800s. There was a lot of talk about Aubameyang not playing well, and obviously playing pretty terribly, looking lethargic, low on confidence. So Arteta moved him out on the left this time. And I think he put in a much more animated game. He was a lot better, which was good. And he obviously scored. So hopefully that kicks something on. But more importantly, it was just a case of they went down again to 10 men. And luckily this time held on. And I just think all of those things can potentially ignite something, but it just really mattered that that wasn't a loss. And so there was sarcasm in how bad Arsenal have declined to get to that point where I need to be screaming about a draw at home to Southampton. But I do think it matters in the context of Arsenal season that rut stopped sooner than later, for sure.
So you think the draw stops the rot? That to me is the interesting take there.
I do. I just think anything that's not a loss stops a rot. I do. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know. Arsenal could go back to playing exactly like they have done. And there wasn't much with Southampton that suggested that much has changed. There was like, in that game, I'd say there was about 20 minutes where Arsenal were on par or slightly better. Southampton were the better team for almost all the game. But they could have gone top that night, Southampton. They're not a bad team. They're a very good team. And I do think that stopped the rot. Even just as like putting a plaster over a wound at the moment, but it has just stopped the constant run of losses at the moment.
Well, the issue here is you're facing the potential that you've been decapitated and you've just stuck a Band-Aid on it. That's the issue here. It's like technically, I mean, yes, you've slowed the bleeding, but the damage might already be fatal. Like this is what we don't know yet.
Maybe. You know what? There's 2/3 of the season left. I still think, like you said last time, like Arsenal won't get relegated, but we need Aubameyang scoring in order for that to stop happening. And hopefully that goal kind of triggers on a better run of form.
I just want to say officially, and I'm normally not the kind of person who hopes for bad things to happen to certain clubs, but I would love it. I'm going to do a Kevin Keegan here. I would love it. I would absolutely love it if Arsenal go down. Like few things would amuse me more in the world of football than watching. I mean, Arsenal fan TV in the Championship would be amazing.
It would go more feral. They would be more obnoxious.
Them outside of Rotherham, just ranting about their players would be amazing.
The depressing reality of Rotherham that I was going to use them as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me that would like to see Man U relegated just because some of our friends may set fire to cities. They may raise cities to the ground if Man U got relegated.
It just wouldn't. I mean, look, Arsenal probably won't go down either. And we would have said this was already Arsenal being this bad would have been almost inconceivable last year. But United aren't going to be going down anytime soon. So I'd love it. I'd like to see. It would amuse. I mean, Liverpool being relegated would amuse me too, but that's not going to happen either. But there is a chance, as slim as it might be right now, there is at least a chance that Arsenal go down, and it would. I'll put it this way: if I have the option, either Arsenal being relegated or Blackburn being promoted, which one do I want to happen more? It's Blackburn, but I would think about it.
Speaking of the Liverpool, did you see Mourinho's comments? Obviously, there was a couple of comments, right? So the injuries one, and the if I did this, I would get punished scenario. And you know what? I know it's a bit.
And his better team one comment.
Yeah, like I know it's black and white, but I actually agree with his injuries point. So basically, Frank, I don't know if you saw this, but Mourinho was asked about Liverpool's injury list, very, very publicly made by Klopp that they are getting, sanded down to the bone, essentially, with the amount of injuries they've got. And he basically listed their top 11 players. And he was like, is he injured? No. Is he injured? No. So he went through like Robinson, Firmino, Sane, went through the whole team. And he said, Van Dijk's injured, and Van Dijk's a really good player. But give me Liverpool's top 11 players and they're all fit except for Van Dijk. And I kind of agree with him. Like when you actually look at Liverpool's best 11, they're still fit.
They're missing two somewhat important players. I mean, Van Dijk is the only one. You're from their best 11, Van Dijk's the only one out. But what bothers me about it too is you now have Liverpool supporters sort of bemoaning their bad luck with injuries, but then they thought it was hilarious last year when City just kept having injury after injury after injury, and that you can't have it both ways. And even with Klopp, he's just a king. He's such a moaner. And I do like him, and I think he does a really good job, but he's just such a moaner. and it gets very tiresome. And I think you can see why it bothers Mourinho, because they are quite similar characters in some respect, even if their approach to football is radically different. But in terms of actually their behavior, quite different. It's just that Klopp smiles while he does it, and so everyone thinks it's very friendly and likable and lovable throughout the entire process, whereas Mourinho just stares at people and has no sort of facial reaction, and so he's the unhappy, disgruntled one all the time.
Yeah, I mean that was the scenario, right? Wasn't it that Klopp and Mourinho came together on the touchline? Mourinho said the better team lost, and Klopp just smiled and said like, "Oh, I thought he was joking," kind of thing. But obviously, if that was the other way around, Klopp would be on screaming at BT Sport maybe, or Amazon Prime, complaining about fixture lists, etc. Yeah, it's the double standard of Klopp that really, really grinds me. But yeah, I take your point.
I mean, is there any truth to that the better team lost? I mean, I watched the match. I didn't think maybe Spurs should have gotten a point out of it, but I don't think they were deserving of 3.
I think better team lost is a bit of a tough one, because the draw was probably a fair. I think they're actually both, they both had good spells. The better team losing actually covers the draw as well. I think the draw would have been a fairer result. So by saying the better team lost, it's kind of, you're kind of saying that's it. But I think the draw would have been a fairer result. But take Mourinho's point, it was extremely competitive until the last minute goal.
I guess also too, is he meaning college football better team lost? Like, does he just think that the better team over the course of the season, they're the better team, and he's just warning him, look, better team lost, but over 38 matches, we're winning the league. Who knows? But Mourinho, he's all mind games and stuff, so who knows what he's up to. I guess also worth noting that Manchester United won tonight, so they are now up to 6th and only 5 points off top with that game in hand. So the United troubles and the Solskjaer being close to getting sacked could be turned around relatively quickly. Glad you both found that really interesting too.
Oh no, I was just reminding myself that Arsenal are only 4 wins away from second. So it's
well, every team could do this. I mean,
yeah, I know, and I love that. I used to do it so much in Football Manager. Be like, I'm clearly getting relegated.
Sheffield United are only 9 wins off top.
Yeah, they are. I think it's looking really good for them.
Yeah,
but,
it's not that bad.
I mean, actually, speaking of that, obviously we mentioned on the podcast about like who would replace Arteta. Like one of the best talents out there for saving a relegated team and turning them around. Big Sam's gone to West Brom, so Arsenal probably have to keep Arteta now, right? No other choices.
Yeah, the person who was guaranteed to keep them up is gone, so may as well stick with Arteta. But I guess nice to see Big Sam back in football. He's been out of the game for basically 3 years, so nice to see him back. And West Brom seems just about, not to be dismissive of his talents or his credentials, but West Brom seems just about the right club for him.
Should we get to our bets of the week?
Sure. I've got an easy one. I can run mine off really quickly.
Wait, but I want the updates, Eddie.
Yeah, I want the updates as well, because I'm pretty sure I had a win.
Unfortunately, my update calculations were a bit lost in the recount, I have to say. So exact figures are not currently available. The only
Eddie has 8.2. Eddie has 8.2 million.
Well, can you just tell us if we won or lost from last week?
Yes. So Sam won. His last gasp loan to stay in it kept him in it because he had his treble of Southampton, the Packers, and the Titans won.
I didn't have a loan.
Well, actually, it's unclear whether or not you've actually.
He was in loan territory.
I was in loan. I had one shot, but it was not a loan. I had.
We
10K.
think the recount is going to have to reveal this one. It's possible that you dipped into the negative for your last week's, but I believe it was your final 5,000. Yes. But all of this will be sorted out in the official recount that is currently on. I've got a whole team working on it. It's very detailed, time consuming work. I lost. Mine had several losers. City drew with United, Liverpool drew with Fulham. So my bet of the week didn't make it very far. And Frank, you won.
Damn right I did. 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So in that respect, I will tell you what my bet of the week is, which is I'm going to put 20,000 of our fictional dollars on a very straightforward NFL threefold. So 3-team parlay. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to win, the Kansas City Chiefs to win, and the Pittsburgh Steelers to win. And that pays 1.43.
A little NFL menage a trois.
Yes.
Well, I am going to keep on trucking with my goal scoring prediction abilities. 2 weeks in a row now, I've nailed it, and I'm just going to keep it rolling. I'm going to carry over whatever I won, and I'm going to go for the double again. Sam, you might want to hold your ears for this one, because one of them is Aubameyang to score anytime. So he's finally scored, as Sam said. It looked much better. So I think he's going to keep that going, get some momentum. He has some confidence back. He's going to net another one. And I'm going to parlay that up with Lewandowski. So he's got 3 in his last 2 games, and he's got 3 in his last 2 games against Leverkusen, who they're playing. So I'll go with that double, and it pays 2.3.
I put 5K.
You've undersold yourself there based on the official bookmaker of the Big Chill podcast. It pays 2.43.
Ayo.
So I had 5K. I won at 1.91. So I've got like 14 and a half grand. Yeah. Okay. So I want to put the winnings on back down to 5K, if that makes sense. So whatever the specifics of it are, like 9,000, whatever. 1 horse. That's it. I'm not going for any additionals. I'm going 1 horse. So there's a really good set of racing this weekend at Ascot. One of my favorite races, or one of like my favorite distances, is Stayers Hurdles, and there's a race at Ascot Saturday afternoon called the Long Walk Hurdle. And the reason I really like that race is because a couple of weeks ago there was a really good tussle or renewal between Paisley Park and Time Hill, and they're going up against it again. And Paisley Park, for me, looked really good on the return, had some problems last couple of times out because of like an irregular heartbeat and basically an illness, but actually ran down Time Hill really well. And the connections and the trainers come out and said, absolutely ready and raring to go, looks great. And this will be a really good litmus test for the Cheltenham Festival as well. And Paisley Park is 2-1 joint favourite with Time Hill. But I think Paisley Park has got way more, both in experience, both in the tank, and just both on historical performances. So I think the 2-1 on Paisley Park is really good value. So do I take the SP or do I take the 2-1? I'm going to take the 2-1. So I'll lock.
We'll give you. Do you know what? We'll give you best odds guaranteed.
Okay, yeah, I'll take BOG then. Yep. So I'll take.
Is it 2-1 or is
Paisley Park,
or is it 15 to 8?
25.
It's 2-1. Currently available at 2-1 with the official bookmaker of the Big Show podcast, who are not currently offering best odds guaranteed on this race, but I'll offer you the best odds guaranteed just because I don't think it will be any bigger than 2-1 anyway. So it's kind of empty offer. It would be a little bit different if you were picking like a 10-1 that might end up going off at 18-1. But in this instance, it's not going to be significantly bigger than 2-1 under any circumstances. So
yeah, and that's the 225 at Ascot on Saturday.
Yeah, unless there's some painful ground changes. Yeah, but the good thing about that race as well. Yeah, exactly. So I get money back. So I'm doing money back, Andy.
No. We don't offer no run or no bet. We'll give you best odds guaranteed, but if it's withdrawn, you lose.
Shit. Okay.
No,
You know what?
I'm
I'm still
just
going to take it.
kidding.
They
I'm
are
just
so
kidding.
confident about this race. But the good thing about that race, though, is that there's another horse in it called Main Fact, and it will run off a little bit longer odds. I haven't seen the odds for it, but probably about fours.
5-1
But it's
currently.
undefeated. It's actually pretty good value for that horse. But Main Fact's undefeated as well, and you're going to see these three horses probably go to the Stayers Hurdle at Cheltenham Festival as well. So it'll be a really good test because usually the ground at Ascot's quite soft, and there's some similarities with the way it plays at Cheltenham as well. So this will be a great little race. So, but my pick's Paisley Park.
Yeah, it's currently a 4.3 on the going stick, so you're looking at soft to heavy in places at that level.
The thing is, though, like Ascot's concept of soft to heavy, this is really dull, but Ascot's concept of like soft to heavy is very different to other courses. Ascot's got really good drainage. There we go. That's the most boring thing I'll ever say in my life. But yeah, anyway, for that reason.
I do like that Porsche is sponsoring the race, so it's the long walk hurdle. It makes it sound like these horses are going so slow that they can't even run. They're just like trotting along, but sponsored by Porsche.
I think it used to be called something else. I think it was like called the Mardle hurdle or something like that before, because this is a big race, because previous winners are people like Big Bucks, Rev de Savola, Thistlecrack won it as well. There's some really good winners in this race that go on and be really famous horses.
Who's running it? Thistlecrack is running it in this year.
At 25 to 1.
Yeah.
How much has that dropped?
Yeah.
Well, it's twice its age, right?
Horse. So it's an old horse, yeah.
Yeah, 12 years old.
12 years young, Eddie.
I hate that expression. We'll eventually do a podcast on expressions that annoy me. Not just specifically me. You can also have expressions that annoy you. But...
No, but yours will take up the whole podcast, so we won't have a chance.
Yeah. I mean, just as a teaser, one of mine is it is what it is. I hate that so much.
Wow. And the one in sport that annoys me the most is when people do the plural of like players. Like when you look back on the golden generation of England and you got your Beckhams, you've got your Carragers, you've got your... It's like, no, you had Beckham and Carragher. Like, unless you're saying Neville's, there was only one of them. So you don't need to make them into plurals.
Kind of like the families were on the pitch as well. The family of Carragers.
Yes. Which is possible. Maybe they were just spitting at people.
So, Eddie, have you put up any Christmas decorations?
I'm at my parents' house now, so...
Oh. So have your parents put up any holiday decorations?
Minimal so far. Just like bits and pieces around there. The Christmas tree is up, but it is yet to be decorated.
Does your family do a Christmas Eve decoration on the tree?
No, but I kind of do it... Usually wait until everyone's together and then kind of like decorate the tree together.
Do you put on like Christmas pajamas and do it?
Yeah, even when we're doing it at 6 in the afternoon.
It's a Christmas onesie.
You put on your Christmas onesies and you decorate the tree?
No, actually my family has a very unique Christmas tradition and we just remain totally in the nude from the 24th to the 26th.
and you hoist your dad on your shoulders to put up the angel or the star on the top of the tree.
Exactly, it's a huge tree. There's no other way around it.
But you go chest to chest.
The only exception is you're allowed to put on your from your cracker. You can put on your paper crown, but apart from that, no clothing for 72 hours.
Oh, see, that's something I wanted to talk about because, like, British American or European American Christmas traditions, like maybe we can do that in our last end of season episode coming up.
Yeah,
that would be a good
one.
So
a Christmas cracker, a little bit difficult to explain, but it's
because it's really racist.
It's a paper cracker, so it's this like piece of cardboard that. You pull from either end and it tears away sort of a third of the way up on either side, and then inside of it, it has a little. I mean, what's that called? The strip that it has.
It's like a noise that a firecracker would make as you pull it.
Yeah.
It just makes like a
So you pull
a
it,
bang.
the sound goes off, it pops, and
Okay.
it tears away on one end. So someone ends up with 2/3 of it, and the other person ends up with just a third of it in their hands. And the person with the 2/3 is the winner. And
Like a
then
wishbone.
inside of it, in kind of, yeah, like a wishbone concept. And inside of it, it will contain some kind of toy, kind of gimmicky gift. So the stereotypical things you get is like a mini set of screwdrivers, some like little magical puzzles, like
A thimble.
little different, yeah, thimble, yeah, like a whole range of stuff. It depends where you get it from, and some can be quite luxurious, some are pretty
A
basic.
dreidel or something.
Yeah, for some reason very Jewish. But
Yeah.
it then contains a piece of paper that has a joke, which is like a corny Christmas joke, and then also a fact. And then it also has a paper crown that everyone wears.
Wow. That is quite the tradition.
I mean, I have never felt more festive than the way Eddie just described that.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a piece of cardboard that you pull.
There's a lot in there. How
mean,
much
look,
they stuffing in that thing?
No. They can actually get super luxurious. Like you can get like these massive.
If you get like
not
Harrods sell Christmas crackers, you can go to Harrods and buy their Christmas crackers, and inside are really nice little trinkets.
Yeah, a yacht.
Yeah, they're limited obviously by size, but you could have car keys, I guess. You could have, you could be, oh, I got the Porsche.
How shitty would it be if there was two crackers and one had the keys to a Porsche and the other had a
set
what was
of
it, a
mini
mini screwdriver set?
But you tried to guess, you heard the jangling of both, and you were like, "Oh, I got a good feeling about this one." And you
then-
took screwdrivers.
And then you lose both. Not only did you not get the car, you also didn't get the screwdrivers.
But yeah, you see them all over the place in England. And then I think in my family, which relatively traditional, you do your crackers at the start of your sort of Christmas dinner, and then people will put on their paper crowns, and then they'll, over the course of the dinner, like tell the joke or tell their fun fact. It's actually kind of a useful way, particularly if you do have your meal extend beyond just your immediate family members or something. It's kind of, you would love it in this sense, Frank. It's a good icebreaker. It gives everyone a conversation starter. Like everyone has a joke to tell. Everyone has a little fact. Like it's a good way of involving everyone in it.
Yeah. So your icebreaker would be like, "How about those lions?" And you would have like a top 5 that someone would say as well. Like that would be your perfect insert of a cracker.
Yeah, actually, that was interesting to me when we went to your parents' place, and every dinner we had, everyone had to be like spread out. To me, that like in itself is like a pretty like non-American thing.
Here I'll give you an example of some of the Christmas. See, maybe Sam will be able to guess the answer. There's a lot of puns, I'll tell you. Like basically all the jokes have puns in them. So, what does Santa suffer from if he gets stuck in a chimney?
Black ass.
Okay, no. Think subtle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually don't know, by the way. But...
claustrophobia, like Santa Claus. Claustrophobia. This is the type of, I see your reaction,
Oh,
Frank.
no, no one laughs. Usually you just get a little bit angry that someone's thought
It's a
about
groan. Someone's heard it before, so you usually get the person who ruins it because they've heard it before, and it's like, okay, but what kind of motorbike does Santa ride?
a Harley reindeer.
You were so close, but you missed it.
Really?
It's a Holly Davidson.
No.
Oh, you had it, Sam.
Yeah. Who delivers presents to cats?
Father pause.
Santa Paws. Come on.
Oh,
you're-
come on. Come on.
Sam, how close can you be without getting these? This is a great game.
Okay.
Maybe we could do this like next week. We can just run
Yeah.
through. Like, how close could Sam get but not actually tell the joke?
What type of shoes does Santa wear when he travels on a train? This is actually one. No, I'm going to even skip this one. This one's terrible. It's platforms.
That's a good...
That's got nothing to do with Christmas. That's
No.
a train joke.
Yeah, it's just a train joke.
Whoever wrote this is obsessed with trains.
Actually, there are quite a lot of train jokes.
Did Sheldon Cooper write this?
I've got 2020 themed ones. Maybe save some of these ones.
What did Santa die of this year?
Well, one of them is. Well, this is only one for English people. What is Dominic Cunning's favorite Christmas song?
Oh crap! I've completely forgotten the name of the castle. It's got to be something to do with like Durham Castle or something like that. I'm trying to think
it's
of
not, but it's it's Driving Home for Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's, he for
Did
context.
he die in
for
a car
anyone-
crash?
No, he is a member of Parliament. Well, a minister. He's a member of the cabinet who
No, he's just he's not even elected.
who broke COVID protocols to drive home and gave some really bad excuses about why he did it. Makes very little sense. And then why he had to drive back as well.
I know something about English people is they love puns and they love rhyming. Love it. Fucking go mental for it. Every headline.
I'll give you a couple ones then just to round this off so that I don't have to do it again next time. How is Prince Andrew coping with the stress of Christmas this year? Fine. No sweat. This is actually here we got. Why couldn't Mary and Joseph join their work conference call?
Because they were on Bethlehem time.
No. This is not good, but at least it's because there was no Zoom at the inn.
What is that? How about there was no Zoom in that time period? That would be just as boring and good.
No, but Frank, the reason why they slept in the manger was because there was no room at the inn.
I
So
get it, but still, it's still dumb.
No, I'm not saying they're good, but at least this time around, whoever wrote them, out of the best 2020 ones, at least managed to get a kind of Christmas
rhyme in.
pun in there.
They got a rhyme in.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you actually one final one. Why are Santa's reindeer allowed to travel on Christmas Eve? Because they have herd immunity.
These are terrible.
But that one is about the right level for a Christmas cracker joke.
Got it. When you first said Christmas cracker, I thought it was a legitimate like food cracker. Like it was like a big cracker. You guys all broke into pieces and ate
You know
at the
what's
table.
hilarious? You know what's hilarious? I actually read an article about the differences between British and American traditions, and it said that most Americans think of Christmas cracker as food. And then you've just confirmed it.
Yeah. I would have had no idea. Now that you've said what it is and I've looked it up, I've seen them before and I know what you mean, but I didn't know that was a thing at all.
You'll have definitely seen them in movies. I'm sure they're, for example, to make appearance at some point in Love Actually. Like
They're
maybe
not in Harry
like
Potter.
Too magical
Actually,
for Harry Potter.
I don't know
Weird
if they're in Love
benchmark.
Actually. I will glue my eyes to the screen to see if I see a cracker in Love Actually.
Oh, you're gonna rewatch? Oh, yeah, because you rewatch it every year because you're a misogynist.
Yep, pretty much. That's the reason.
Right after entertaining our audience with some incredible jokes, any other sports stories to cover, or should we just wrap it up there? Not intended Christmas pun.
I think we can we can, as Sam said, talk about our Christmas traditions or holiday traditions at our final episode on Monday. Then I can also tell you one of the things I'm looking most forward to for the Christmas break.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, you can't.
I mean, wait.
Is that a threat?
No, it just means I'm going to tell you off air. So you can't wait.
Oh, joy. I can't wait to have it spoiled for me.
But no, nothing from me.
All right. Well, talk to you boys later.
See ya.
Cheerio.